Hello. When I started designing my logo, I initially drew out some ideas in pen and pencil. Here are a couple of those. I started to add some additions such as elements of lettering or calligraphy, and also some more physical elements such as the star scene here. I then went on to pursue a more stylized lettering, looking increasingly flamboyant. I then toned this down to stay on trend with current lettering trends, but kept elements of the lettering development. I then mocked up a layout in Illustrator using an existing typeface similar to the lettering I'm using to see how it would look balanced with the name in a clean style. I then developed this layout further through sketching and made use of angles and was as detailed as possible with the construction to try and create a balanced final logo. This is a tidied up version of the previous image in Photoshop. I then used Photoshop to move elements around, playing around with scale and placement of objects and removing any unnecessary details. I then imported this into Illustrator and flipped it to see how if the logo remained balanced even when flipped, to see if the shape was strong enough standing on its own. I then added a layout to this, a grid layout to construct elements on top of, so that everything was aligned. And then I then used the brush tool to add other elements of interest. Increasingly played around with the layout. I'm constantly flipping it to see if it remains balanced with the changes made. This is becoming more lined up with the margins that I'm using. I then printed this out and worked further on it using pencil. This was done using a light box. These are the tools that I used. I then imported it into Sketch because I find it's quicker for drawing vectors, but it doesn't have the power that Illustrator does. But I can import SVGs from Sketch into Illustrator, so I can work between the two programs and also drawing. This is still in Sketch, working on that. This is the final version that I settled upon before sending it out for industry feedback. I managed to get feedback from a graphic designer who commented on the logo. I sent them a PNG which came out looking like this on their iPad, so that's something that I should have taken into account, that this may look different on different devices. Fortunately, they thought the design was strong, and I adapted it so that it could be used with different transparencies on the text and the objects in the background.